We're in a particular season of foraging that I just recently heard referred to as PMSD, post-Morels season depression. So we have a few weeks now that Morels season is over in our area before the summer mushrooms start to pop. And I thought that was pretty funny when I heard it. Well, we're going to do kind of a real-time video, show you guys some sponge mushrooms that we found yesterday in the rain, which was part of this walk. And I'm going to show you various plants as we go along. One of them that I wanted to show you is an edible that you can eat all year, and the reason you can eat it all year is because it doesn't tend to get bitter. But it does elude a lot of people because it has bunches of different leaves. This is white lettuce. And as you look down the plant, you see the leaves change, different shapes. And younger plants, you'll see a full plant and it'll have bunches of these smaller leaves that look like that. When they get big, the sinuses get great. It has 6, 7, maybe even 8 different kinds of leaves on it. But white lettuce is a deep shaded woodland plant that is nutritional and doesn't tend to get bitter later in the season. I've eaten it in the summer, I've eaten it in the fall. Of course, I do choose the younger leaves, but it's delicious. It makes a great salad. And right here we have honest root or sweet cicely. It's hard to tell the difference between the two, but you see this fuzzy purple stalk. And if you break off a piece, it has this wonderful licorice smell. The leaves you chop up, you put into salads or fruit salads. Wood nettle is a good edible. Most people scald it with water before they cook with it to get these stinging hairs. Hot water renders them useless to stinging your throat. Right here is one of my favorite. I love to munch on this. It's dying back because it's a spring ephemeral, but this is cut leaf toothwort. Tastes a lot like cilantro. Really good stuff. Here's another one here. And blue wood phlox, spring bloomer, purple toadshade. I read somewhere that people do eat this. I don't know how or why they would. I also read that if you pick a bloom from other species of trilliums, then it might take 7 to 10 years for it to come back to bloom, so it hurts the plant. But we're on the lookout for new Goldenseal, and maybe we'll find that. So we're going to walk up this trail, deer trail we're on, and see if we can't find it. And we'll be back to real time. Note the hollow stalk and the pits. These are pits, not folds. Another spring edible. There's a bunch of them in here. Dawn and I are in a nature preserve. We're not out foraging today, but another wonderful spring edible is honewort, Canadian honewort. It's kind of easy to identify, because this looks like 3 leaves, but technically it's 1. You can see the leaf axil right here, and the front leaf, or the front, this is a sinus. So the back part of the leaf has a mitten, and in the front part of the leaf is usually 3 to 5 lobes, and then it's also heavily toothed beyond each sinus of the leaf. And this is an edible green that you can add to your salads. Canadian honewort. Right there's some wild leek. And right here we have trillium, which I've never eaten, but I'm told that you can eat it. I would never eat it. I'm also told, and I don't know for a fact, that if you pick this, it might take 7 to 10 years for it to grow back. Here is another spring ephemeral, Dutchman's breeches, starting to die back. You can see the fern-like. Another delicious wild edible that you can add to your salads is cleavers. You can see this whorl of leaves as it goes up with a quadrangled square stalk, and it sticks. It's edible, and it's one of my favorite edibles. It doesn't tend to get bitter as the year goes on if you pick the new shoots, and it seems to continue to grow. And then of course you can throw it on people.
Like you?
Which is a fun thing to do. Got wild leeks here that are just now starting to die back. Another spring ephemeral. You can see the bulbs right here. I dig that back. You can see these are healthy plants. Wild leeks are delicious. When you do harvest from them, harvest from the center of the patch. We don't harvest here. We're on a nature preserve. But another edible we have right here is wild ginger. I mean, this place just has wild edibles all over. Another odd thing about this is, in Michigan, you don't see this very often because we're so far north, but there are buckeye trees all over this place. We're in Dowagiac Woods by Google Map. Let's go see what other neat things we can find. One of my favorite plants that's fast disappearing is dwarf ginseng. It gets the name dwarf ginseng because of these 5 leaves, which don't look a lot like ginseng, but what does look like ginseng is this nude stalk that goes down, that's leafless. And like ginsengs and blue cohosh and black cohosh, this bract that comes around the plant meets all at the same axis. And it gets a beautiful kind of foamy looking flower on it, and is listed as endangered or threatened in many states. One of my favorite spring bloomers. An awesome find. Open this up and it looks square. Typically that's how to identify wild ginger. Fuzzy leaf. It's a diacot. And right there where the axil and the leaf, or the stem and the leaf come together, if you open it up, it looks square. It's usually heart-shaped or kidney-shaped. The bloom is kind of unique. It's clear down to the ground. Wild ginger can be used for a lot of things, including candy. The root. It's always nice to find wild ginger.
Not working?
I don't know how to do it. Which button do I push?
The 5 button.
It just says highlight added. Can't get it on photograph. Here's a shrub that tends to go unnoticed. It has maple-like leaves on it. You'll find it in hardwoods, usually at higher, drier places. It's maple leaf viburnum. It's a shrub, doesn't get very big, but these flower pods will turn into a squarish looking blue berry, which are peculiar looking. And if anybody ever does notice that this shrub is not a maple, usually it's because of those blue fruits. But one of the reasons I stopped in here was to show you guys blue cohosh, which is an herb that is used in aid of childbirth. And another name for it is blue ginseng. Blue cohosh is kind of rare in my area in northern Indiana and southern Michigan, and you can see that the stalk resembles ginseng. It's got a blue hue to it, and what really resembles ginseng is where these bracts meet are usually perfectly even. There's a few of them in here. Of course, we've got the wild geranium, the false Solomon seal, a lot of neat spring plants that I'm looking at. This isn't a spring plant. It's going to get a deep midnight blue berry on it that are astounding in late fall. When you see them, they just, I know as a kid, every time I seen those midnight blueberries that get on this, always wanted to eat them, but I knew better. Anyway, the bract on blue ginseng or blue cohosh meets at the end of the stalk, a leafless stalk, and the axils of it are usually even all the way around, just like ginseng, black cohosh, sarsaparilla, and even dwarf ginseng. Neat plant that's shrinking in my area. Another one that I think people should plant in on their property. Find something else to look at. Well, we're coming into an end of our walk on this section of woods, and we did find some goldenseal. It always kind of makes my day when I find goldenseal on a nature walk in a place that I didn't plant it. At least in Michigan, you just don't see goldenseal anymore. Used to see it a lot when I was a kid. This time of year, though, it's pretty hard to spot. One of the reasons that it's hard to spot is the May-apples are huge, and it's usually taller than first and second year growth. You can see this is a May-apple next to a maple leaf, and then there's a goldenseal here. So it's really hard to spot. And one of the telltale things that you'll find with goldenseal is this flower head, which will later become a berry capsule right in the back sinus of the leaf axil. Of course, goldenseal is usually two bracketed, usually. And if I was to move these leaves back and look at the rhizome, you would see a beautiful, beautiful golden yellow color, which is why it gets its name. But goldenseal is something I would encourage people to plant on their property. Look into forest farming. There are different places in the United States that you can purchase goldenseal and plant it. It likes loamy soils. Not really wet, boggy, but it likes loamy soils with shade. And when you don't have invasive species, it'll do pretty good. And it's definitely worth restoring. We're gonna see if we can find a couple other neat plants before we finish up our walk here. One of the spring ephemerals that some people do eat, spring ephemerals, they'll die back. You can see that this leaf turning yellow, kind of falling away, is dying back. Now, this is a trout lily, and when they're fresh, this mottled look on the leaf, or I call it mottled rather than variegation, can be much darker and much more striking. Now, people put these leaves in salads and they eat them. They use them sparingly in salads to flavor them. And the first time that I tried this plant, the trout lily, I ate the leaf and I thought, oh wow, I've been missing out on one of the best greens I've ever tasted. And then the aftertaste hit me. After that, I didn't want to eat the leaves anymore. However, later on, I dug these up and tried the corm. And about the distance of my finger from the plant is usually a corm. And that corm is about the size of my thumbnail, usually about the size of my pinky nail. And the corm can be sliced and eaten raw, or it can be steamed and cooked. It can be added to different things. I eat it just raw like you would a radish. I think this is a Candlomyces. Not sure. It's not an eater. Anyway, trout lily is one of my favorite spring ephemerals where it's abundant. I'll dig out corms just once a year. There's a lot of trout lily in the areas that I forage, that I do know in some states it's getting hard to find. It's been an enjoyable spring walk. I think what we want to do for 2021 in our videos is we want to cover the boletes and the rasulas, some tricholomas, a lot of different edible wild veggies that we didn't get to cover last year, and a lot of mushrooms that we didn't get to cover last year. And one of the reasons we didn't get to cover them is we was in a severe drought. So hopefully this season of 2021, Dawn and I can show you a lot of neat things, how to identify them, distinguishing features of different plants and mushrooms, where we're going to go from there. Still got my broken leg. That's what slowed me down this spring. I wanted to work on that terrible umbrella term, false morel, because underneath that umbrella there are so many different species that it's unfortunate people use the term, because it limits our understanding and our ability to learn and distinguish one species from another. And also, mushroom foragers are missing out on some delicious mushrooms based on that one term. We didn't get to do it because of my broken knee, but hopefully next season I'll be able to get some gyrometras and some helvelas and some verpas and show you guys the difference in what you can eat and how you can eat them, and what you shouldn't eat, and what takes special care to prepare to eat. Anyway, safe and happy foraging, guys.